version of the events of what happened that night.
Sure, I was just driving home from work past the Chain of Rocks bridge, and this man approached a car. I screamed to a halt. He looked quite disoriented, but also quite scared. I asked him for his name, but he was so shaken he could barely speak. He just kept repeating that I should call the police, so I did.
Can you describe Mr. Clemmens' general appearance to me? What he looked like? Was he wet or had any signs of being beaten?
His hair was surprisingly dry, and he didn't seem to have many cuts or bruises. Actually, his leg had a slight cut on, which he showed to me after calming down.
There is one thing I am certainly not. I am not a coward. I would never resort to physical abuse because of lack of evidence. I have been an officer of the law for over 15 years. And the guys I've worked with know me better than anyone. They know that I would never do this. I am a loyal man to the law and the United States of America. I take my job seriously, and I know the responsibility I hold. I am also not a racist. I would treat every criminal the same, black or white. And the fact that I have now been accused of this makes me angry. Furious, in fact. But also ashamed. Ashamed of how this has branded me as a monster. And as someone who doesn't care about my job, which I'm telling you is not true. I am fair. I've always tried to be. If I believed that Mr. Clemmens was innocent, then I would say that. But by him accusing me of beating him, it makes him look like the victim. And maybe this is what he wanted all along. Did that ever occur to you? That this could be a plan to persuade and convince you of his innocence? I never laid hand on him that day. I questioned him like I questioned everyone. Look at the evidence. It all points towards him. For someone to be accusing two officers of the law serving their duty when he has raped and killed two girls seems a lot, don't you think?
Officer Marshall, if you could answer my question.
Sure. Look, we have been looking for Clemmens all day, and we finally found him. We just asked him the basic questions we needed to, but he refused to say anything at this point. We both tried to speak to him individually, but again he said nothing. After asking him a series of questions, he finally slipped up on his story, saying he had left the girls but gone back to find an item of his on the bridge with one of the men he was with, which put him in a time frame of committing a crime.
And this was when you knew that Clemmens had been lying?
It was pretty obvious from the start. But yes, we knew from that moment onwards that he was not telling us the truth.
So what happened after that?
We questioned Clemmens until he cracked. We wanted him to admit to the crime he had committed. He finally broke down and told us he had been involved in the raping of one of the sisters, and was aware of who killed them and how they were killed. However, did not admit to his involvement in this. We thought a confession to this was better than no confession at all, and therefore took his photo, recorded his statement, and then charged him with a crime he had confessed to.
And at any point did you hit or mistreat the man in question, Mr. Clemmens, in order to get this confession?
No, ma'am. I have been an officer of the law for over 15 years, and therefore would never abuse my role like this. The tapes we have also show no sign of pausing or playing, which means the interview is recorded throughout, showing that me and my partner would have not an opportunity to be or heard on Mr. Clemmens.
So, a man of the law for over 13 years has been accused of beating someone. That hardly seems fair when Officer Marshall is not the man in question of committing these horrific crimes. I would ask the jury to really think about who is innocent and who is guilty here. I find this accusation slightly hard to believe. That's all I need for now, Your Honor. Thank you, Officer Marshall. You may leave the stand.
I would like the jury to look at the two photos I am about to show them, which were shown previously by the prosecution. Mr. Clemens, can you confirm that these photos were taken before and after the incident with the two officers?
Yes, I can. But you can't see half of what they did to me, which were mainly beat me in the chest and on the stomach, making sure that no one would notice.
I want to ask the jury to really study these two photos. As you can see, my client's face is red and swollen in the second photograph. Therefore, this evidence is evidence that something happened to my client in his interview time, which was before this photo was taken. Mr. Clemens, you have already told the prosecution and the jury the events in which your statement was taken. However, I would like you to talk me through what happened after this.
Well, a few people noticed I didn't look all that good, and some even asked if I was okay, if I needed any water or anything like that. I could barely speak. I was all shaken up and scared. I had just been made to confess to something I didn't do.
Obviously, this is a confusing time for you emotionally, but also physically, you were not able to stand or walk properly, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
I now present to the jury an order for my client, Mr. Clemens, to be taken immediately to the infirmary after his statement was given, after being reviewed by Governor Jay Nixon. The order reads as follows. Mr. Clemens is in no fit state for any further questioning. He seeks urgent medical attention and should be kept in an infirmary for several days before the case is approached again. I am unaware of how Mr. Clemens has become like this. However, he needs assistance immediately. This order was taken on record at exactly 1:15 p.m. April 21st. This is taken just 15 minutes after my client's statement was initially taken, with his confession for raping both Kerry sisters was recorded. I ask the jury to think about this being a coincidence. My client needed to be taken to the infirmary. Surely this is evidence to support that his allegations are true. Otherwise, such urgent medical attention would not be needed. Without any DNA evidence to support that my client was linked to the murder and rape of these two teenage girls, we need to start looking for the person really responsible for this crime.
Defence, do you wish to question your client, Mr. Clemens, any further?
No, Your Honour. That is all I need for now. Thank you.
Please step down, Mr. Clemens. Court is adjourned. We will resume questioning in an hour.